co-host of Intentional Talk, 5 p.m. Live from Fenway Park, leading up to the Red Sox-Astros game on MLB Network at 7 Eastern Time. Are you in Boston right now, Kevin?
I'm in Boston right now. I'm looking at this gray skies. I'm looking at some slight rain. It's supposed to stop here in the next probably hour, so the game will be not in jeopardy, but shoes on the field right now might be in jeopardy.
What is it like for you to walk the streets of Boston, man? What's that like? Walk me through it.
You know what? It truly, like, we get out last night. By the way, Chris Rose says hello.
Right back at him.
Richie, I said hello.
Love it.
And so we got out, like we just got out of the car service, getting to the hotel. It's about 11 o'clock. I think the restaurant closed, and the bellman's like, hey, good to have you back. How you doing? And I'm not a recognizable face. Like, I'm not 6'11" and a half getting out with a mullet. That, you know, it's Randy Johnson. Hey, Randy. So they kind of just it's like family. Like, they let the restaurant remain open. We got a chance to quick get our room keys and go down, and they had 2 seats right there, and we ordered some clam chowder and lobster bisque and watched the rest of this basketball game.
Yeah, because we were talking about this off the top of the show, Kevin, with the Boston Bruins now in the Stanley Cup final, and how it started obviously with Brady beating the Rams in that Super Bowl in New Orleans, and then the Red Sox followed it up by breaking the curse with you and the rest of the team. And now, how many Final Four appearances in sports, Chris? Did you say since
28?
28
since
now,
2002.
Kevin. I mean, but it wasn't that way when you were trying to break the curse, was it?
Yeah, no, it wasn't that way. The Patriots had won, I think, maybe 3 out of 4 in that 03 to 05 time, right? Though they kind of just got in the map. Red Sox hadn't won anything yet in 86 years. We win, and also the Celtics got good, the Bruins, and then it became like, now the question would ask, is Boston spoiled? Are they? Because you had the Red Sox last year World Series champions. You had the Patriots doing their thing with Brady, and then you got the Bruins in the finals. Like, the Celtics, they didn't play as good as they should have or look, because I thought that team had a chance to win the title starting the season. You know, and they never kind of got on track in the postseason. But are they spoiled is the question.
Well, I mean, my masshole across the way here, and Chris Brockman, you just bristled at that question. You are spoiled. Why would you even bristle with the question that Millar just asked?
Spoiled how?
Spoiled how? You're bitching and moaning about your Red Sox in the middle of April.
86 years of misery. The Patriots were terrible forever.
Yeah.
The answer is yes. Of course they're spoiled in Boston. You're going to be kidding me.
You got to love it. I tell you what, if you're a Boston fan, you're from Boston, there's no place, no city like it right now, because it's truly amazing. I mean, what Tom Brady's done over his career, and the Red Sox have won, 4, 7, 13, 18. So there's 4 World Series in that span. And then the Bruins, man, they don't stop.
It's kind of crazy. All right. Well, the Red Sox seem to have righted the ship this year, right? I mean, are they on the straight and narrow? Best you can tell now, Kevin? 3 over?
As bad as they've played, right, up to this point, to last week, let's say. Everybody else talks about the hangover effect, and I don't know what the answer to that is, but we saw it with the Cubs in 17. We saw it with the Astros in 18. We saw it with the Red Sox now, the first 5 weeks of the season. I think we were magnifying every Chris Sale start, whether we was throwing 91 or 88 or 97, in April. But I think right now you look at this club, they're a good ball club, period, end of story. They're a good ball club. As it heats up here in the East Coast, Fenway Park's going to get real small, and Mookie Betts is going to hit about 340 the next second half. It's just the way it is. Benintendi and Xander, and, you got Devers over there no one's even talking about, leading the league in hitting. So JD and this group, they're good. Sale's throwing the ball well. Obviously struck out 17 his last start, 7 innings. We all want him to go back out, but that's not the way it goes these days. Everything's magnified by a number of pitches, and there you have it.
Well, you got the last 2 World Series champions going at it tonight, obviously, in Fenway Park, and the Astros appear to be just as good as ever, man. I mean, they're 14 over right now. Best record in Major League Baseball, as you and I are conversing. What are their holes? Do they have any? Best you can tell, Kevin?
They really don't. Their bullpen's light out. Presley's been unbelievable. I think he's got 38 or 39 scoreless innings to bridge the gap to Ozuna. So the 7th inning game, they play to. They got great starting pitching. Garrett Cole strikes out everybody. Justin Verlander seems like the Tom Brady of baseball. He's not going to age.
Nice.
Offensively, they're unbelievable. Alex Bregman has this team just with a swag about him. So George Springer, who's a better leadoff hitter or threat at the top of the lineup than George Springer? He sits up there, batter number one. He can put you dead center. And anytime you have that, it's like the old Ricky Henderson days, right? You got power at the top, speed, athleticism. Michael Brantley was a great addition. They're the best team out there. They're the best team, period. And what's disappointing is that division. How many games do they win the division by? Is it going to be 15?
Yeah, I know.
Seattle and Angels and Texas and Oakland. Like, that's the disappointing aspect about that, because no one's going to contend with them.
Well, I mean, Seattle started like a house of fire and then obviously fell off, and the Angels fell off, and now that they're circling around 500 right now, and then obviously with Trout and Ohtani now back and hitting the baseball, you obviously, yeah, I mean, you're right. I'm just trying to put some sort of sunny scene on the AL West. The AL Central, though, I mean, are the Twins the biggest surprise in baseball this year?
I don't know if they're the biggest surprise. I look at that division once again. KC wasn't going to be good. Detroit's not going to be good. The White Sox are still waiting for every prospect in the world to do well. They're not ready to compete. The Indians are head scratchers, right? They're trying to trade Trevor Bauer. They're trying to trade Corey Kluber. They're trying, the beginning thing. I'm like, you don't realize how fortunate you are to have a chance to win the division again. So it's almost like they push their hands, kind of like, we'll just go through the motions and think we're going to win this division, as Minnesota was adding Nelly Cruz and Crone and making this lineup powerful. They score runs. They hit home runs. Eddie Rosario is unbelievable. I think most underrated player in the big leagues. We don't talk enough about him. Their starting staff now makes you scratch your head and go, do they have enough to maintain? And to answer that question, in this division, I'd say yes. I think they have enough what they need to do, but they'll add a little bit. I think Rocco Baldelli, their manager, has done a great job. And the Twins organization has always done well with small market money. And so I don't think there are any surprise. I think that the Indians need to get kind of a cup check, look in that mirror and say, they're not fake.
Kevin Millar here on MLB Network on the Rich Eisen Show. Can I give you an under-the-radar surprise team? Totally under-the-radar surprise team.
Yes.
How about the Yankees being 10 over 500 with everybody hurt, pretty much?
100%. If the season ended today, Aaron Boone's manager of the year, period. That staff, Phil Nevin, third base coach, he got low hips. He's been working out, looks good in his arms area. But I'm going to tell you, honest to God, they've done a great job. You haven't heard them complain one time. They had 13 guys on the DL end of April when we were there doing the show. That was when Bird just went on that day. I'm like, 13. Think about it. And they've had just nothing but a AA and a AAA, team they've been fielding. And then you look at Herman coming in and going for his 8th win the other night as a starting pitcher. Like, they lose Soriano, their ace. There's not a whole lot of teams that have had worse luck than them, and 10 games over 500 at 26-16, like you said, a half a game out behind the Rays, who have been playing good all year, and that just tells you how good the Yankees are.
So if I had to give you a choice, and I'm doing that because it's Sports Talk Radio, you could build a team around Yelich or Bellinger. Who do you do? You could choose only one, Yelich or Bellinger. Kevin Millar.
Absolutely tremendous question.
Thank you, sir.
And I'm probably going to shock you.
Okay.
Bellinger's a tick younger, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would go with Bellinger because I could play him anywhere on the diamond almost. It almost feels like I can play him at shortstop, but he'd probably be my best shortstop. He plays first. He plays every outfield position. I think he plays it at a high level. I think he's going to slow the game down as he goes. Christian Yelich, one of my favorites, though. It's a great question. I'll go with the age, younger Bellinger, but it's flip a coin. You ain't going wrong.
Well, I mean, here we are, Kevin. He's 4 years younger than Yelich, and we're just what are we, about 8 days, 9 days away from 10 days? Sorry, from Memorial Day. That's the unofficial quarter post poll position of the season. Kids over 400. I mean, in this day and age where we're shifting and we're analyzing, there's analytics this, and you're seeing 18 different pitchers in a game because this guy throws smoke, this guy does this guy does that. 400, that's insane what he is doing right now.
Insane.
Bellinger.
And with that violent swing. And you just look at him. I love what he said before in spring training. I'm not platooning. I'm going to play every day because this team's a better team when I'm in the lineup every day. Because the Dodgers have like 37 different lines. They have the righties, the lefties, this and that. And sometimes you saw him, last year he played a lot of games, but I think he started 100, whatever it was, 35. but he wants to play every night. He wants to play every day. He doesn't care lefty, righty, and I love that about him. That was going into camp. So everybody's kind of like, oh, okay, really? Well, guess what? I'm hitting 400 also the first 6 weeks of the season. But I love players that believe in themselves, And the better question is, Rich, when you sit here talking about, Bellinger or Yelich, you sit back and, we had this conversation last week on Intentional Talk, like, where's Bryce Harper fit in those those
right.
talks? You got Mike Trout, you got Bellinger, you got Arenado, you got Ronald Acuna Jr. in Atlanta, you have the kid Soto in D.C., he's 21. But you start asking, who would you start your team with? Bryce, he's probably in the top 10 maybe. But there's some players now. I mean, Yelich is really kind of like he's an MVP. They go after him like he's not that good. I'm thinking, this dude's got 18 home runs. He was the most valuable player last year. You better start locking in on Christian Yelich. This is a good ball player. This isn't fake.
It's amazing. I mean, he leads the league in homers at 18, but Bellinger leads in average in RBI. It's been a lot of fun so far. Before I let you go, Kevin Millar, again, Intentional Talk. You and Chris Rose, 5 Eastern time from Fenway before tonight's Astros Red Sox series starts at 7 Eastern on MLB Network. Is it true you were at Bethpage Black yesterday? Is that a fact, Kevin? At the PGA Championship?
Wednesday. I was there, Richie. Wednesday.
Okay.
Went beautiful helicopter ride over. Landed on the fairway in the red course, I believe. It was absolutely awesome. Watched them on the driving range. I love watching drills. Like when you go to the events, it's awesome. But
right.
You got to kind of follow, and your head bobbing, you're throwing a few elbows. It's like sitting in the middle seat on Southwest. Like you're gonna throw some elbows trying to get that armchair. But when you go on practice round days, unbelievable. Because I could what are they working on? What's their putting drills? It was awesome. It was beautiful blue skies, and flew back to the network and had a chance to. I felt like I was last I was a rich and famous Robin Leach.
Well, I mean,
the live stars.
They just put a photograph from @KMLA15 on the screen. Is that Faldo? You and Faldo? Is that
Me
it?
and Nicky Fresh. We're just talking about wedge games and stuff. I gave him some rapid fires. I was asking him
right.
Who's the one golfer that you'd find in the 19th hole after a match, or who's the one that talks the most trash? A lot of answers were Phil Mickelson. He talks the most trash. He's obviously the one that's going to lay some dough on the line for fun. But it was funny because that was Nick's answer also. The guy that talks the most trash was Lefty, and then he also said Stenson is funny. Stenson's really funny and talks some smack. Got a great personality.
Right. And then there's another photograph, if you can put it up on the screen as well, when you arrived in Boston. Is that the famed Jack and Coke as well that was awaiting for you upon your arrival?
So I got in about 12:09, a.m. late night, and I walk in the room, and it says, "Hello, Mr. Kevin Millar." And there was 2 Coca-Cola bottles, by the way. Who doesn't love drinking Coke out of that 8-ounce bottle? And a little thing, a flasky of Jack Daniels. And I'm like, it'll never go away. That's why I love me some Boston. A couple shots and a sweep with the Yankees, 4 straight. You're forever loved here with Jack Daniels.
and which at 1:16 Eastern time the following afternoon is still filled? Which one of those bottles still filled, Kevin?
The Jack Daniels is still filled.
Okay.
But I'm going to tell you this: at 6:01, when Intentional Talk's over, that Jack Daniels bottle might lose a little bit of the substance.
Couple of fingers shy.
Right home.
It'll be a couple fingers shy. Okay, very good. Kevin, say hi to Chris. Love our chats always. Let's chat again soon.
All right, Ricky. Thanks,
man.
buddy.
You got it. It's Kevin Millar.
For more of The Rich Eisen Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV for free on BR Live or download the Rich Eisen Show app.